The Mandalorian, Season 2, Episode 7, The Believer. Written and directed by Rick Famuyiwa, who also wrote and directed the episode in Season 1 featuring Bill Burr. That was Episode 6, The Prisoner. Now, this episode features some of the most in-depth dialogue tackling a taboo subject, not just in Star Wars, but in life in general. Religion. Warning, spoilers ahead. So in the world of Star Wars, there are a number of belief systems, but those systems go beyond, personal codes into a much grander and secular idea, which is governments. I mean, we have the belief systems of the Jedi, the Mandalorians. Almost any and all cultures from the different planets have their own different belief systems. And when those start to clash in a interplanetary, intersystem, galactic way, you're exposed to a lot of different information, a lot of different deities, etc. But belief is the power that generates armies, creates empires. The Galactic Empire believes in order, despite freedom, and the New Republic embraces freedom, but at the cost of chaos. Now, this world building around Cara Dune's character and her interaction with the New Republic pilots earlier in the season showcase this. It showcases this struggle. The New Republic needs competent people to lead in order for this system to work, just like in real life. But this struggle of the New Republic, to me, when the sequel trilogy came out, was like, why are we repeating this struggle? Has Leia honestly been doing the same thing for 30 plus years, fighting in this war? My gosh, she must be tired. But the more of the in the trenches integration of what the New Republic is trying to do, the struggles of building a democratic republic across an entire galaxy, I marvel at what those type of storylines could be within the same narrative thread or bookshelf of what George Lucas was trying to accomplish with the prequel trilogy, to show how inept the government had become, how inept the Jedi had become because they were being told what to do through the Senate, and that allowed for the growth of the Sith to rise and take power, to create a chaotic situation that allowed, Palpatine to get the power that he needed. So this belief system, these governments, is a continual theme throughout of Star Wars. That's where the wars come from between those warring factions. But I liked how it was articulated in the script and how the writer, Mr. Famuyiwa, was able to really resonate these struggles and these themes in master strokes of dialogue, in master strokes of character evolution, and people sitting down and talking. We're going to jump in more into those scenes. But the New Republic needs competent people for this system to work. And I really, really enjoyed the conversation that officer had with Cara Dune earlier in the season, because that still sticks with me of like, they're trying. They're trying, because we know what happens further down the line, years from now, with the New Order. So the struggle is real, but I find it to be captivating to see the struggle. Okay, let's talk about Bill Burr. This man is amazing. His stand-up specials tackling these subjects with controlled, refined, masculine rage is therapy. And the way he's able to articulate letting go of his religion akin to curling and letting it just float away. Words that I needed to hear in my time. And I always trust comedians that tell the truth. Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr. I mean, Bill Burr was on the Chappelle Show, right? So that will always resonate with an audience. And the way that Bill Burr is able to bring that type of authenticity in a conversation with our character Din, and just how much authenticity was resonating through the actor, because he's lived this, or he's articulated this in his stand-up special, so he knows where to find the truth in the scene. And I applaud the creative team that was able to put this type of scene together, because this dives so far into the mythos of Star Wars and how the Jedi and the Jedi Code was wrong, and how that led to part of the downfall of the Jedi with Anakin, and just belief systems that are either antiquated or become too aloof, and why Qui-Gon Jinn was the true Jedi in Phantom Menace. Just, man, deep stuff that, years of being a Star Wars fan you contemplate about these things as you're exposed to real life scenarios, and you go through real life situations of leaving your religion or leaving a cult or being exposed to new ideas and having to tackle through that stuff. And when you're able to replicate these types of conversations of people just sitting down and talking about this stuff in art, it's art imitating life. And then people can go, wait a second. I've been in a conversation like this before. I wasn't going into an Imperial base switching a helmet, but I've had conversations with friends like this. But this is what typically happens when people they're in a cult. Is they'll have epiphanies, or they'll think about these type of conversations that they have with their friends or neighbors. That's what happened to me. And again, I really enjoyed the truthfulness of this in a Star Wars property. I'm really blown away by the depth of them tackling this taboo subject, because it's more than just religion as well. Like I said earlier in the episode, it's about the belief of governments, and really what it comes down to is how you can sleep at night. But this is what happens. It's usually people talking that allow people to be exposed to more ideas and think about the world a little bit differently. And we need to do more of that in person, not through social media. Din Djarin, our hero, he's been exposed to other Mandalorians of different codes and creeds worthy of the title because of their skill in battle. I mean, he definitely was getting along with the other Mandalorians that he met earlier in the season. But they're not following the strict code that he follows with Death Watch. So if he abandons the code, it feels like he's abandoning the people that raised him. But when he's exposed to people that follow similar codes, and they're like, oh, you're part of this sect, it doesn't make you less of a Mandalore if you can remove your helmet. I'm sure he's thinking about that a lot more and more. But the overall theme that Bill Burr was talking about is one must evolve and adapt in the galaxy, not only to survive, but to sleep at night. To have that conscious, that peace of mind, And as a soldier, to struggle with that, with Bill Burr's character being an Imperial sharpshooter and then a mercenary afterwards, you wonder about, the days and nights that he thinks about. And man, is it a masterstroke later in this conversation that he has. But let's talk about, the cost of an empire. We're constantly reminded of the lengths the empire will go for power, or it's for the greater good. And we see it with, the faces of those people earlier that were having their homes ripped apart or people invading their land. And the justification of the leadership and the officers within the world of Star Wars is like, oh, it's for the greater good. It's for order. The New Republic, they want freedom and chaos. What people really want is order. And once again, the director and writer, Rick Famuyiwa, articulates an emotionally and morally heavy topic through the acting of 3 people sitting at a table having a drink. Actors, once again, I am reminded that the camera catches everything. I could feel the deaths the Empire was responsible for on Mayfield's face. And the way the emotions were bubbling up inside when he thought about all those people that were killed. Yeah, and he took out that gun and blew that officer away, man. That was crazy. But such a payoff. Such an emotional payoff on the side of the Empire. This is again the unfolding and evolution of where we can take Star Wars and to tell stories like these, but also the evolution of our hero Din Djarin. So let's ask ourselves, is Grogu more important than the code? Yes. Din has now put upon the altar of sacrifice his code by revealing his face. And as Bill Burr was telling him, it's going to come a time in your life where you're going to be desperate enough that you're going to have to adapt your code, change your code, or find a new one. And, it's for, when I bring up the greater good, the Empire thinks about, it's for the greater good. Well, this is for the greatest good, to be able to sleep at night. I'm very, very captivated by the evolution of this character and how his journey of letting go of an outward symbol for an inward commitment. Balance. We had quite a cast in this episode. And this episode featured a lot of heavy hitters and everyone had their chance to shine. You know, the plan was created by professionals, executed by professionals, and it worked. I shouted for joy when Mayfield blew away that despicable officer. And to those of you who wince at the sound of joyous victory over one's enemies, namely a genocidal authoritarian, let me remind you, the franchise is called Star Wars. People are gonna die. What did you think of this week's episode? And what are your predictions for the season finale? Let me know in the comments below. I loved the very end, the message that Din Djarin, our hero, the Mandalorian, sent to the enemy, that he's coming for him, and what that kid means to him. Definitely got the you messed with the wrong dude vibes. So this is going to be a fight, and the only thing I really wonder is how long is it going to be. The previous season finale was 48 minutes long, the end of season 1, so I hope this one is 48 plus. Congratulations to the entire Star Wars creative team and to the recent announcements of more of the shows that are coming our way. The Ahsoka show's been announced. We've known about Kenobi. We saw a couple previews of other shows as well. So I'm excited for these different Star Wars stories and where they take us, as long as Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are involved in any way, or they just give a thumbs up approval to the script or to the project, then I feel it's going to be good. Oh, and Patty Jenkins with Rogue Squadron. You know, I joined the Air Force a long time ago, and one of the biggest reasons was because of watching Star Wars so many times growing up. Star Wars and Top Gun. Okay, folks, we have one episode left. That's the season finale next week. So again, let me know in the comments below what you think is going to happen, and I will see you online.